Hi guys, welcome back. We are in week 8. Oh my God, I can't believe how quick this is going. Week 8, the July heat is kind of soltering over to the August heat. It is the 28th of July, week 8 in BUS 224, Business Communications. This week we are going to be working on interviews, resumes. The reading assignment that you have this week is all about um, your career and writing your resumes. And we've covered resumes already, and you guys are doing fine there. It's about building your careers this week. So I want you to read chapters 13. So you have chapter 13 to work on. Your assignment are just I lighten the assignment up quite a bit. It's just 4 questions out of chapter 13. I want you to take that on. You have a quiz this week that is over chapters 11 and 12 from last week. Let's make sure that we get that completed. And then you have your discussion that is due this week. And this week, I want to start the discussion off. There's a good video in there about your 4 steps to your career. And man, my career has been long, but we're not going to get into that. However, what I would like for you to do is let's kick around. When we're going to switch it around a little bit. You're the employer and you're looking at resumes. This is how I want you to think about this. If you're an employer and you're looking at resumes, you're in the hiring position. You get a resume that has a lot. Let's say they have a total of 2-3 years of experience, and they have 5 jobs in those 3 years. What questions would you ask? How would you go about finding out if it is a good thing or a bad thing that they've had all those on there? How can you do that legally? Now, when we start asking questions in an interview and about somebody's past, we have to be careful. There are tons and tons of laws and policies that you have to follow. Please get with your HR if you have an HR department. They will help you vet a lot of the early candidates and kind of filter through some folks that really have no experience or actually have no business even applying for a position that you may have open. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes you have to do all of that. I have had both, where I've had to be everything. I have had to comb through every resume, and that's generally how it is. Only in larger companies will you see a vetting process before it gets to a decision maker. So with that being said, there at ANU, I had an assistant for a while. She vetted a lot of the applications that I had received. That's what a good assistant will do. Remember, assistant is not a secretary. Assistant is much, much, much more than a secretary. So don't ever think of an assistant as a secretary. The duties that an assistant performs are just, they're far, 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 far above what nothing that there's wrong with a secretary. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's anything bad. The assistants that I've had in the past were never the ones that were to complete typing, issues or mailing something for me. That's something that we, as any professional, can do ourselves. Assistants are there to help run reports, that are there to collate data, collate the reports that were inbound, vetting, doing a lot of tedious legwork where you can focus on a bigger picture and let the smaller detail stuff to an assistant. That's the best way to describe it. Now, but what we're doing is we're going to be looking at or what we're going to be talking about is looking at resumes from the employer point of view. And what I want to get out of this is not necessarily I'm trying to train you as an employer to hire people, but I'm trying to get to a point of what, now some of you are already in this position, that's fine. But what I want you to understand mostly is how do employers look at your resume? That's ultimately what I'm after here. In the meantime, we're going to be the employer. How would you react? Because there's no magic wand once you get that position and you're out there hiring. Now, granted, experience helps, But there's no magic wand that poof, all of a sudden you know all these magical things about how to hire people. It is mostly experience that you will have over time, accumulate over time, um, that you will find out what are good hires, what are bad hires, what are good risk takers, what are bad risk takers, and it's a gamble, every one of them. The instant that you think that you know somebody, and when I hire this type of personality, I know they're going to work out great, or I'm not going to hire that person because I don't, I know that type of person, and they're not going to work out very well. None of that is true. You cannot judge a book by its cover, and I hate to use that analogy, but it's not true. You cannot judge a person. It's hard to even judge them in a lengthy interview, and even bringing them back a couple of times, it's hard to kind of understand. People are nervous when they come in for interviews. You're nervous. I'm nervous when I go in for interviews. But that's natural. That's fine, and you have to learn to overlook that and try to see what their capabilities are. You have to make sure that they're going to be a good fit in the office, and be careful with that. So there's a lot of things to look at, and that comes with experience. I've made some bad hires. I've made plenty of bad hires. I've made some fantastic hires. So I'm not saying it's a crapshoot, but sometimes you do have to rely on your gut feeling and your first impression of people, and that comes in time. So we're gonna kick that around in discussions. So that being said, let's get on it. We're going to talk about do's and don'ts in interviews. We'll talk about that in a little bit, and how to talk with people. We'll cover some of that later on in the week. All right. So with that, guys, let's have a good week. I think we covered everything else. Oh, no, I didn't. You've got your final project. That's right. Final project in 8. Let's cover some more information on that. Week 8, your final project outline is in there. It shows you how many points your outline is worth. Let's get that done and completed and submitted. And let's get going from there. You're going to be submitting your file on that. So it's worth 25 points. So let's make sure that we get that done. So that being said, let's have a great week. I will talk to you soon. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to give me a text or an email, or give me a call if you absolutely need to. So, all right, guys, let's have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.